Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video we are going to talk about the things which you have to do the first time you come to the US. There's a lot of things. There's a lot going on when you first arrive in the US. My sister's arriving tomorrow. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, I've already set her up in an apartment. So I just thought that it is so crucial to make this video because there's so many things and it gets overwhelming when you do not have a checklist sort of things which the things you have to do. And if you're not with a bunch of friends, you'll have to figure out it yourself, and that makes it a little bit harder. So let's start with a list of things you need to do when you first arrive in the US. All right, number one, bank account. I cannot emphasize more. You need a US bank account. I'm sure during your orientation, your university is going to tell you which bank account you have to go for. Um, it could be a Chase bank account, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. There are different banks. When I first came to the US, I got a Purdue Federal Credit Union. It's also a bank, but it's a Purdue's credit union since there are so many employees and so many um, students studying at Purdue. They have their own credit union. The same way UT Austin, University of Texas Austin, has their credit union, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other credit unions there are. Credit unions are great, but the banks always have like a um, better system, like a better website, better app when it comes to functionality of it. And it's funny because up until now, like the last time I probably used my Purdue Federal Credit Union account was 3 years ago, maybe. So I got a Chase account, I got a PFCU account. I would choose my Chase account every day just because the ease of use, the app which Chase has, that's great as well. All of these things work really fine. And if I have to use Zelle, that's like a payment method like Venmo. I can use that with Chase. You can use that with Bank of America. You can use that with Wells Fargo. All of these banks have that system. So if you're wondering what bank account you need to go with, usually students go with the bank accounts which is nearest to their universities. Different states will have different one, but I prefer Chase. Simran has a Wells Fargo account. That's also great. Depending upon how much money you're getting transferred from India and how the rates are, analyze yourself which bank account you want to go for. Chase is tried and tested, Wells Fargo is tried and tested. So if you want to go with that, that's fine. There's an offer going on in Chase right now. I'm going to leave that link in description. If you sign up with the link I've given, you can get up to 225 US dollars free if you maintain like a certain balance in your bank account. I know it's difficult to maintain certain balance in a student's account because I've had like less than $100 in my bank account at one time. But if you do, that offer is still valid and you have to do that for 90 days, and $225 is a lot of money. So check that offer out. I'm going to leave that link in description. Second point is credit cards, credit scores. So a lot of negative thoughts or negative connotations about credit cards or credit scores, especially about credit cards, because people always see credit cards as a negative thing, like, hey, you're going to take credit and you might not be able to pay it. But the biggest advice I can give you as a student myself, as a worker right now myself, I have like 6 different credit cards which I use on almost daily basis. Each and every credit card has has a motive behind it. For example, my American Express credit card gives me 6% on grocery stores. I use that. Um, my City card, double card, gives me 2% cash back. So why should I lose that 2% or 6% or 3% at gas station? American Express gives me 3% at gas station. Why should I lose that money when I'm getting that? So if I use my debit card, I don't get any cash back. And if I use my credit card, I get cash back. And the great way to get started with your credit card journey or a credit score journey is through a credit card. Um, I'll tell you that was a very dumb sentence which I just made, but I'll tell you one thing. In the US, credit scores is a relevant thing, is a very, very relevant thing which you need to be worried about. Whenever you're looking at a credit score might range from 650 to 850. My credit score right now is pretty good, I'll tell you that. My credit score when I started off, I think it hit like 705, but it took 6 months for that credit score to show up on my credit history. And why credit history is so important is because when you're going to buy a car, or when you're going to buy a house, when you're leasing an apartment, your credit score defines your deposit. Your deposit might be low, your deposit might be high, your interest rate on the loan which you're taking to buy that car, your credit score makes the whole difference when it comes to that. Like, oh, this person's credit history is 2 years, 3 years. Let's give them a lesser amount of loan because their credit history is good. So do these kind of things and make the most out of your credit card journey and credit history journey, but start early. That's the biggest thing. I started like almost a year late, and that's why my credit history is shorter now. I could have started like first 2, 3, 4 months. The fun part about credit history is like you don't even need a social security number to start with it. You can get a social security number, and I'm gonna make a total video on that, but you don't have to. You can go and get a Deserve credit card. That's what I've been using for like over 3 years now. That was my first credit card. I did not input my social security number to get it. I'm gonna leave that link in description. You can check it out. You get $30 just to sign up, and it's completely safe. It's tried and tested. I've used it all over the place. I've even used my Deserve credit card in India because they don't charge for foreign transactions. So try it out. I've left the link in description. Go check it out. Health insurance. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a quick story. Last year in April or May, I made a video about this. I had to go to emergency room. I had to pay $300 because my insurance says if you go to an emergency room, you have to pay $300 as a copay, as a front up money. I paid that $300, and then when I came back, I had a stomach ache, a really bad stomach. I was at the hospital like for 4 or 5 hours or so. I came back 3 weeks down the line. I look into my health insurance account and see that the hospital has billed my insurance company over $10,000. I think it was around 12,400 or something. They have charged me $10,000, not me, but the insurance $10,000 for a 4 hours job. And that's why health insurance is so important. If you don't have health insurance in the US, that's a complete no. Don't compromise on health insurance. That's the one thing which I tell everybody. There's a lot of students which do not take health insurance from the university. They want to go with cheaper alternatives like some Indian banks, some Indian companies, Indian insurance companies. Do not go with that health insurance. There was a line in one of these videos which I keep watching on YouTube. It was like, the best insurance in this world is the insurance you don't have to use. So keep that in mind when you're buying next insurance. Don't cheap out on insurance. It's really important. One of my juniors, Shubham, he injured his knee while he was playing football. The second week when he came here. Second week, imagine that. He injured his knee. He had to go to the emergency room. He had to go to the hospital. And I think over the whole like year of his treatment, the hospital charged his insurance over $150,000 or so. He didn't have to pay that much money because he had insurance and he only had to pay copay. So make sure your insurance is in place. Try getting the insurance off the university if you can. I know university insurances are more expensive. If you can't find it, there's an alternative which I'm linking down below. It's a company called Juno. What they do is they go with a third party company which supplies Aetna insurance, and Aetna is a great insurance. I've used it prior. Try getting the Aetna insurance, and yeah, leave a question if you have any. Just to give you quick context, I'm gonna go through a lot of things in this video, not in as much depth as I would in a particular single video about like credit history or health insurance, but I've made videos about all of these things individually. You can go and check that link out. Number 4, phone plans. Of course, you have to get a SIM card, you have to contact people, you have to have Wi-Fi, or you have to have internet on your phone while you are in the US. You need maps, you need all these services. So phone plans is crucial again. There's a bunch of service providers like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Cricket, Mint Mobile, US Mobile, all of these. And there are some local ones, there are some more national ones. I have had T-Mobile since day one. I like T-Mobile. I haven't had any problems with that. I've paid consistently $30 per month for my service with T-Mobile, and I'm in a family plan, so it was easy. One thing which I've seen a lot of students having problem with is that their phone might not be compatible with the services here. I'm going to leave a link of this website in description. On the website, you can see if your phone is compatible with the bands which are available here or not. I'm not a telecom communication engineer, so I don't understand these things better. But if, for example, my iPhone, it's a US phone, that's why it's compatible with all the bands which are available in the US. But if you buy an iPhone from India, it might not be compatible with a few bands in the US. It might be compatible with most of it, but maybe not with two. And it shows exactly like if your 5G services is going to work better or not. For example, I tried out putting down Xiaomi phones like Mi, and they had compatibility issues with the 5G bands in the US. And it makes sense, right? If you're making a phone for a user in India, it should be more relevant to the bands which are available in India as compared to the US. So check if your phone is compatible with that or not. And if you're buying any SIM, T-Mobile or US Mobile or Mint Mobile, you can always check on their website if your phone's compatible with their SIM or not. One thing I'll bring to your notice is like T-Mobile is great with family plans. US Mobile, I have tried that, but US Mobile is not as good when you're traveling. So when I traveled with my parents, they wouldn't get internet everywhere. And the service was a little bit more expensive than Mint Mobile. If you're somebody who's just starting up, check out Mint Mobile. I'm going to leave that link in description as well. I think you get $20 off. They have this offer going on right now. Check that out. I'm going to leave that link in description. But the best thing about Mint Mobile is like I think they are giving like $45 for 3 months, which is great. $15 for 3 months. Um, and you have Wi-Fi on your campus in your apartment, so you wouldn't use that much data. So check that service out. I think it's pretty good. But before you get any of these services, Verizon, make sure it's compatible in your state. For example, in Arizona, I started having some problems with T-Mobile when I just came in. It's so much more better now. AT&T and Verizon is compatible in each of the states. Their service is great in each of the states. T-Mobile is great now. It wasn't as great 3 years ago when I moved to Phoenix, but it's great now. So you can try it out. Number fifth, check in with international student services. Maybe I should have put this point in the first one because this is the most important thing. So when you have your orientation, of course, they'll let you know that, hey, you have to check in with your international student services. These are the people or Office of International Services. They call it differently in different universities. Um, these are the people who are going to give you a travel signature when you're traveling to India. These are the people who are going to approve your OPT, your CPT, your STEM extension. So keep in touch with them. You don't have to check in with them every month or so. It's not like that. But there's always a portal on the back end where you have to put in all of your information, like where you're staying right now, the address you're staying at, your phone number. Make sure the portal, the International Student Services portal of yours is always updated. Make sure you apply for your OPT or CPT way ahead of time. If you're anticipating to graduate in May, make sure you apply for your OPT as early as possible, as early as legally possible. I think it's 90 days before your graduation date or so. Just because you don't want to miss the opportunity of applying again in case there's a lot of delay, because there's going to be a lot of international students this year. So check in with your International Student Services or Office of International Students, OISS, ISS. There are different things, different universities call it differently. Setting up utilities, no matter in which state you are, no matter in which apartment you're going for, your apartment company is going to tell you that you have to start electric service. I've seen this less in like big apartment buildings with hundreds and hundreds of apartments. Usually in big buildings with hundreds and hundreds of apartments, the apartment company or the property management company manages the electricity as well. But in most cases, you'll have to start the utilities. For example, when I went to Purdue in West Lafayette, I had to call Duke Energy, tell them I'm going to move into 1416 apartment. I think that was my apartment. I'm going to move into 1416 apartment. I need to start electricity. They ask you a few questions and they start electricity on the date you give them. Same with Phoenix, I had to call APS. Same with Tucson, I had to call TEP. So your apartment company, whoever you're talking to for your lease, they are going to let you know that you have to do this one thing extra as well. And don't worry about it. They just start the service because people stop and start services when they're moving out of the apartment, and you have to do that as well. Another one is renter's insurance. Important thing. I'm sure your apartment is going to tell you renter's insurance is an insurance while you're living in an apartment. For example, recently in Texas, there was a cold wave. It was freezing there. There was a lot of snow, and Texas has never seen that before. So a lot of pipes burst out because those pipes are not compatible with the kind of cold Texas has. And if you don't have your taps on during winters, the water can freeze inside the pipes and can burst the pipe. And that what happened. So renter's insurance is really useful during that time. You have to have a minimum of $100,000 coverage on your renter's insurance. To get a renter's insurance with that kind of minimum coverage, you'll have to pay around $5 to $10 per person per month. It's something you can't avoid, and it's something you shouldn't be avoiding. It's important in case of emergencies. Your renter's insurance pay for all of the mess up which happens in a rental apartment or in a rental property. Another one is Wi-Fi. How can I forget? There are a bunch of services. There are local services, there are national services, CenturyLink, Cox, Xfinity, AT&T provides their services, Verizon provides their services for Wi-Fi, and T-Mobile have started providing services as well. It really depends on your apartment building. For example, the apartment I'm sitting in right now has a Cox communication line coming to it. So I have to get a Cox internet. I call them up, I set the Cox internet. You can do this once you come to the US, not a big deal, but you need to do it. It's another thing you need to worry about. They will try to sell you a router for the internet. They will not give you, they'll try to rent out a router for you. If you have 6 people in your apartment, renting out a router might make sense. It never makes sense for me to rent stuff out like this because companies always making more money when they're renting it out, because a good router would cost you anywhere between $80 to $150 depending on how many people you have and what is the capacity on that router. I have a router which cost me $75. I pay a service which is $60 per month for internet. So one time fee is 70, and then I can always sell this router because this is my personal router, and I can move it to another apartment whenever I want. And that's about it. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. I hope you found this useful. Welcome to the US. I know it's an exciting time, waiting a whole year to come to the US, or if you have deferred from fall 21, waiting 2 years. It's exciting. So welcome. Do these things when you come here. If you have questions about these things, I'm sure I've made a video about them. I'm going to leave that link in description. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below and I'll be able to help you in that. Thank you so much guys for watching this one. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.